For both my main and ancillary products, I have conformed to the codes and conventions of the dark pop, alternative, and indie genres. From my research into these genres, I was able to use my findings to influence the style in which I created my music video. For example, the typical amalgamation of conventions that this hybrid of genres includes are as follows. Abandoned places, devoid of other people, empty buildings, forests, deserts, etc. Unfocused style of filming, mix of performance and story acting, manipulation of light, color themes, for example red to connote love, blood, pain, etc. Unusual clothing or makeup, which is designed to make a statement or connote the style of the people within the video, for example the punk genre. Symbolic object, again, designed to make a statement like the unusual clothing or makeup. Storylines involving love, fights, rebellion, contemplative scenes, death, or surreal scenes. I incorporated these conventions into my work through my choices regarding subject matter, locations, props, and costume, and my post-production editing decisions. For example, I used nature-based settings. I had symbolic objects to make the statements, such as the paper boat and the Capricorn mask. My clothing styles I chose were reflective of those of the indie genre. My shot types, the point of view shots, both moving and stationary, the close-ups and the long shots. I had a generally unfocused style of filming to kind of connote that spontaneity. I used projections. My story was story acting. The storyline dealt with themes of love, contemplative and surreal scenes, and friendship. There was the old home movie style, which I created using the romantic and projector effects found in Final Cut Pro. And I specifically edited to the beat of the song. One of my most prominent decisions, to manipulate light and use projections, was inspired by the music video for Wild Bell's song Backslider. This video features the band's vocalists singing, standing, and dancing in front of a screen onto which various artistic images, such as abandoned places, obscure objects, etc., are being projected. The footage is further stylized by the old film quality it has. This is an effect that seems to crop up fairly regularly within the alternative genre, specifically with female singers. For example, Lana Del Rey uses it frequently. It's featured in her videos for National Anthem, Young and Beautiful, and Summertime Sadness. The reason that I chose to use this particular convention was because of the storyline and meanings of my video. I wanted to characterize the intimacy behind exploring one's memories, and I felt that giving my video a home video / old footage look, through my choice of perspective and non-static shots, and my use of the Final Cut Pro Effects projector, which makes the footage look projected, and Romantic, which brightens the footage and makes it blurred around the edges, conveys the footage as being the subject's memories. The use of old home video style footage is a common technique in film and television, often being used as a way to reveal the touching personal memories of a character to the audience. Because of this, I knew that my audience would understand the significance of the footage from my choice to stylize it in this way. The subject matter of the video itself, the story of a teenager reminiscing in her memories of times with her friends and the concert she went to with her partner, is very specific to this genre. The themes of love, youth, and change are staples of the genre, and my video undeniably conforms to them. I also use the common practice of creating a link between the visuals and the narrative. For example, my opening of the subject standing at the river and my ending, and my continual use of water visuals linked to the song's title River and the line, "Run me like a river." However, due to the rather abstract nature of the song itself, for the most part my visuals were unrelated. One convention that I developed in a non-typical way was the use of looking, where the performer connects with the audience through looking into the camera. While my subject does look into the camera, thus acknowledging the audience, she only does so in the mind sequence, where she is with the projections. This connotes to the audience that this is where we are seeing her considering her memories as she is outside them, whereas the rest of the time we are seeing her view of the memories, hence the point of view shots. I challenged the standard convention of having the singer perform in my music video by omitting it altogether, as a performance by Briggs, portrayed by my actress, would have detracted from the video as being an abstract story. While there is performance featured, a concert by the band Billy Talent, it is not presented as a performance for the audience. Rather, it is simply part of a memory, specifically the one with her partner. My choice to use the distinctive costume piece, the Capricorn goat mask, was done to create a sense of narrative enigma about my character. The concept of dehumanizing the performance is one of the less common conventions of the genre, but when it is done, its purpose is generally to create audience intrigue by presenting the performers in this unusual way. I also used the Capricorn mask to act as the iconography with which I defined Briggs. I went on to use the idea of the mask, presented in the form of a drawn Capricorn symbol, to create product synergy when I featured the design on both the digipack and the magazine advert. Before I created my digipack, I researched the codes and conventions of digipacks and analysed pre-existing products in the genre, just as I had done for my music video, and like I went on to do for my magazine advert. The codes and conventions of a standard digipack are as follows. On the front, you will see the main band or artist image, the name of the band and artist, the title of the album, and the logo. On the back, there will be track listings, special features, and another image, usually placed under the text. The spine will have one of the following, or two. The name of the artist, the title of the album. It is possible the record label may be included, or there will be a reference number. The additional information will also be contained somewhere on the packaging. The price, a barcode, a record label, the year of publishing, copyright, composers, producers, credits, etc. This information is usually located in small print on the back cover, or else as part of the inner sleeves or inserts. For my digipack, I conformed to the majority of the typical conventions, such as using the artist's iconography, in this case the Capricorn symbol, on the front cover, having the name of the artist on the spine so that listeners will be able to identify the artist, and track listings and legal jargon on the back. To create synergy across my products, I used a watercolor edit of a photograph taken of the river featured in the opening and end scenes of my music video. I chose to use the watercolor effect, as this links to the indie and alternative genre, especially as it features an isolated and natural location. I did, however, challenge the convention of featuring the artist's name and/or the album title on the front cover. A decision I made as I intended for the lack of title to be intriguing to the audience, thus causing their natural curiosity to make them want to investigate the album further. The complete lack of a title also means that the audience's eye will be drawn towards the bold symbol, the Capricorn logo, which I created to be specifically simple, as the most memorable designs are always the most simple. Overall, by rejecting the convention of placing the artist's name and album title on the front cover, I am establishing my artist in a different, more eye-catching way. As I mentioned earlier, before creating my magazine advert, I made sure to research and analyze pre-existing magazine adverts so as to enhance my understanding of their codes and conventions. My findings were as follows. For the images and graphics, they will relate to the album and the artist of the band. There will be images and graphics, or a mix. It will be appropriate to the genre of the music of the artist and the band. There will be, most likely, a photograph of the artist or the band. It's usually included. Sometimes there is artistic editing to this. And it will be appropriate to the color theme. In regards to the typography, it will include the artist and band name, the album title, release date, reviews and critical acclaims, the artist or band's website address, specific track names, and they may include names of the other artists featured on the album. Additional features may include a record label logo or an album rating. For my magazine advert, I decided to conform to the majority of these conventions because while a minimalist style is often indicative of the indie alternative genre, I didn't want my magazine advert to be minimalistic to the point where it is actually unclear in what it's advertising. For this reason, it was important that I include features such as the artist's name, which in this case doubled as the album's title, as I'd chosen for it to be a self-titled album. I also included a review so that the people seeing the advert will be able to infer that it is for a musician, as the review that I chose mentions Briggs' vocal prowess. The iconography of the Capricorn symbol placed over the watercolored background creates product synergy through its links to the digipack. While for the most part I stuck with the conventions, I did challenge one with my decision to omit any photograph of my artist, a decision I made so as to be in keeping with the ancillary product of the digipack and to link back to how the artist's face is never shown within the video. Overall, I wanted to keep the style of the magazine advert to be as minimalistic as possible to match the style of the digipack, but not overly minimalistic as to be missing key information, which would likely confuse or frustrate my audience. In conclusion, I strongly feel that my media products conform, develop, and challenge the conventions of real media products in a way that makes them unique to my artist as defined through my research. Thank you.